Well, I'm a holistic chiropractor, and I help people optimize their health. I don't just adjust them, I do a bunch of other things. And so
let's just stop here. You are, through your adjustments, offering an analogy to what we're talking about that your inner being does.
Aligning, yes.
You're just opening that path for them so that the energy can flow a little better. We would rather they figured out how to do it on their own than bone cracking.
Yes.
But it's the same idea. Do you follow?
Yeah. So, but one of the techniques that I do, I use energy testing to target nutrition to balance their metabolism and oftentimes their neurochemistry. And so when their neurochemistry improves, you can take a very skittish, nervous somebody who could never achieve an alpha state in a meditative state if they tried for 10 years. With targeted
be careful
nutrition,
with those kinds of statements.
Okay, but with
because that isn't true or even close to true.
Right, but somebody who could be having trouble with that could take a big giant shortcut if they just tweaked the vibration of their food or their nutrition. So I always feel like that's a missing puzzle piece.
But here's the thing. But what you're talking about in both the chiropractic movement and even the nutrition, you're talking about them finding a behavior or an action that then is evidence of energy flowing. And if you'll just flip that on its head a little bit and think in terms of the energy flowing, which then inspires the behavior, not a behavior that then fits, but following a path that leads to the behavior. When you get into alignment, you'll find all of that. And the reason you can find it is because you're in alignment. And the reason that you can find it for others is because you're in alignment. That the bridge you want to make with them is the alignment and then.
Yes, okay. Well, and my frustration piece comes in when the national conversation with, the violence and the things that does happen isn't in part, at least, because there's many factors, that the vibration of our food is just very poor for the general population. And so
yeah. We know for sure that there are things that your body would benefit more from. And we know for sure that depending on where you are, sometimes, for example, we really want you to hear this. When you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and really feeling energetically connected, and you're starting to receive impulses to act, some of your cravings are part of that impulse. And those cravings, because you're wide open, are beneficial. But if you were not wide open and you followed a biological craving, it would be like flooding your carburetor. There aren't even carburetors in your cars anymore, but it would be like giving too much fuel to the engine that isn't burning it. And so to call any substance always bad is not a good idea. We're with you, and we don't mean to make you defensive. We really are on your side. It's really wonderful work that you're doing. But the alignment then inspires the behavior. This is the bottom line of what we're really wanting to say. You just can't sort through the piles of people and experiences in life and come to a whole bunch of conclusions about what's the right or wrong thing to eat and always be right, because everybody's different. But you want to think about why they're different. They're different moment to moment because they are energetically different moment to moment, not just because they're different biologically or genetically created. That's some of it too, but it's more about the energy that's flowing through them in the moment that inspires the craving. Being tuned into your inner being will inspire you to eat things that lots of nutritionists will tell you you should not eat. And when you are depressed, you'll be under the influence of inspiration that your body will show you you were better off if you hadn't eaten it. It's almost like self-perpetuating misery in an action way. But you just can't take behaviors or substances or foods or experiences and put them in categories of good or bad or even best, better, and bestest. You just can't do that because it's dependent upon what you're doing vibrationally in the moment. You have to isolate satisfaction. In other words, spend a little time doing that and then watch what happens next. Because a lot of people are looking for satisfaction in this moment through their tongue. We want you to find energetic satisfaction and then watch where that leads. Here's how it works. So let's say, and this is true of almost everyone, that through life you keep hearing things about food, and a lot of it you believe. And so you have a desire, but you have beliefs that are in your way. So you have desire for flavors of things and textures of things and for different foods. You have a desire for the flavor and the taste of them, but you also have beliefs that those things won't give you something else you want, which is nutrition and vitality and maybe the body conditions that you want. So you've got a contradiction going on within you. You want it, but you don't want it. You want it, but your beliefs about it you don't want.
And is it the same thing when your body physically rejects it? So you have,
Let's not go quite there yet. Let's just start with that simple premise that you want something, you believe you want something, it seems flavorful, you've enjoyed it before, you want to eat it again, but while you're eating it, you are emotionally not satisfied because you're mad at yourself even while you're eating it. You feel like you shouldn't be eating it. There's a conflict going on even while you're eating it sometime. It's not because there's something wrong with that food. It's because your beliefs about that food are conflicted with your desires about that food. Your desire is because it tastes this way. Your belief is that it will give you bad results. Well, you just can't move in the direction of something that you've got contradicted energy about without getting the results that your contradicted energy will produce. You see what we're talking about? That's why we say you want to get into the vortex first. You want to be in alignment, because when you're tuned to your inner being, you'll be inspired to the food that your beliefs will accommodate. Did you hear that? We're going to say it again. You'll be inspired to the food that your beliefs will accommodate. What's another way of saying that? The other thing that we're saying with that is that's the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance is working with the beliefs you have, but you can't get rid of them. You've got to accommodate the beliefs that you have in order to get to where you want to be. That's why so many people have beliefs about food, and when they omit those foods, then they get the results that they want because they're accommodating the beliefs that they have. But we want you to understand that you can have it all. You can eat the things that are satisfying to you on all levels. You just have to work the bugs out of your belief system. Did you hear that? And it doesn't happen immediately. You can't all of a sudden stop believing something that you've been proving to yourself for a long time.
so that's my big question, is how do you change those core beliefs?
Most important, you don't do it all at once. And next of all, you don't call those core beliefs. Those are not core beliefs. Those are beliefs you pick up along your physical trail. They're heavy-duty beliefs, but your core beliefs are things about your well-being and your brilliance and your intelligence and your value and your worthiness. Those are your core beliefs, you see. Your inner being holds your core beliefs. But you see, your inner being is calling you. Your inner being is calling you toward what your inner being knows you want. And your inner being, when we said earlier, your inner being knows where you stand in relationship to everything that you want and will guide you toward what you want along the path of least resistance. What do you think the path of least resistance is? It's the path that you've created with the things that you believe. So your inner being knows what you want and is guiding you through the sort of labyrinth of beliefs that you have. The more you come to understand that it's about beliefs, it's not about realities. Your realities don't form your beliefs form your realities. Then those realities keep perpetuating those beliefs that you formed. You come into this experience and you observe things and you hear things from your dad, from your mom, from the people around you, and you observe and you form these vibrational beliefs. And if they feel good, that means your inner being's on board. But if they don't feel good, it means you're siding with the humans again, and you're siding with the limitations again, and you're being human rather than being the expansive, creative, forward-moving, new creator that you were born to be. Evolution of all species is about this very thing, you see. Someday, you won't be using the fuel that you use today, but by the time that happens, you will have discovered all new fuel sources, and it won't matter. But the more you argue about your fuel sources, the more you hold yourself in self-imposed, vulnerable feelings, rather than moving toward the new energies that are already ready for you to reap the benefit of. Your beliefs hold you back, but they don't have to. A belief's just a thought that you continue to think. So what do you think about asking on a really regular basis, inner being, what do you think about this? And at a minimum, your emotions will become stronger, and you'll at least know whether your inner being's thoughts are in harmony with your thoughts or not about that. Inner being, do you like Republicans? Inner being, do you like Democrats? Well, your inner being will say, yeah, really like them, really like them. Inner being, will you choose one over the other? Now you're disconnected from your resources. Somebody said to Esther, she went to the voting place, decided to cast her ballot vibrationally and physically. And somebody said, are you just going to vote straight ticket? And Esther said, no, there's people under the influence of source all over this ballot. Why would I do that? Why would I vote against that whole group of people when there's brilliance all over this ballot? No, I'm going to vibe them out. You see, it's not what you do in this moment. It's what you've prepared ahead of time. If you get in the flow, if you remind yourself who you are for just a little while, think about food as fuel. Eventually you can look for the best tasting fuel that you can find, but think of it as fuel. And so what you want to let in is all that you can allow with the desires and the beliefs that you hold. And that's actually what is happening. But as you think about this more, and as you look for satisfaction more, what you're going to begin to discover is some things feel less appealing to you, while other things feel more appealing to you. And before long, food will not be an issue. When we say take money out of the equation, the reason we say it is because most people, when they think about money, get into a lackful vibe, and then they don't let their abundance flow. When we say take food out of the equation, we really mean if you take food out of the equation and you just think in terms of vitality and thriving and joy and satisfaction, then you begin finding yourself finding all of those things.
I just want to make the decisions then to what I want to eat.
But when you say I want to make the decision, we want to say to you, what you're saying is, I want to be under the influence. I want to follow the influence of my inner being. And if we could just convince you that your inner being knows everything you want, your inner being knows you want the pep that some food gives you, you want the endurance that some food gives you, you want the flavor that some food gives you, you want the stamina that some food gives you, but you've got trillions of cells that are making requests that your tongue isn't even considering. And your inner being knows what all those cells are requesting, and knows among the things that are available to you in this moment in time, because you're not going to search the whole planet for your meal, it's probably going to be right here in this vicinity. Your inner being knows what foods are there that have most of the requests met that your whole self is asking for. And when you're really tuned in, you'll feel a craving for that. And somebody for sure has written a book about not eating that.